to welcome to the platform Mr. Jimmy Burns.
Tommy and Melissa, wonderful.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Blessed for air conditioning. So, this young couple move into a new neighborhood. And they get up one morning and they're having breakfast. And the wife looks out the window and she sees the neighbor hanging her laundry. She says, oh my goodness, look, her laundry's so dirty and dingy. Somebody needs to go over there and help her. Somebody needs to teach her. Maybe she's not using the right soap. So, she's hanging her laundry on maybe, okay, it was 1958. Dwight Eisenhower was president. But you'll understand in a second. So, this happens for a few weeks. The wife keeps going, man, somebody needs to help that woman. I don't know. And so, like a month later, the woman gets up and looks and says, oh, look at the clean laundry. That is just wonderful. Somebody's gone and helped her. I wonder who helped her with her laundry. And the husband responds with, nobody. I got up early and cleaned our windows. And that is today's lesson. Perception and forgiveness. Always know that how you look at people is coming from your own truth and your own perception. Our book today, if you haven't read it, you're going to hear a summary of it. The Little Soul and the Sun. David picked it out. It's a beautiful book. It's a gorgeous book. And it has, this is why perception came up to me, because David wanted this month to be about forgiveness. And if you haven't read the book, Little Soul realizes that Little Soul is a light, a bright light, and tells God, I want to be the light. And God says, how can you be what you already are? He goes, but I want to feel it. And God is saying, I'm summarizing very briefly, how can you be? You already are. You already feel it. You can't be what you're not. You already is. This is what I made you. And we're so excited that you know who you are. That's the lesson. And Little Soul wants to, you can be very special and special in different aspects. And Little Soul wants to be special at forgiveness. And God's lesson is, I've made perfection. There's nothing to forgive. Well, but how am I going to use my special talent? And that's when they come up with creating darkness. What is darkness? Well, that's everything that light is not, everything that you are not. Well, when I go on the next life, how can I work this? How can I practice what I've done if there's no... And this is where, to me, the perception of the book is. David apparently related to forgiveness in the book. David related to the little soul searching and wanting to exercise the talent of forgiveness. I, on the other hand, related to the other character. That's why we have different speakers with the same book. You get the different perceptions. A friendly soul stepped up and said, I'll help you out. But when we go to the lifetime, I will play a role. I will do something and give you the opportunity to exercise your forgiveness power. And little soul, what? Really? Yes. That's exactly what I'll do. I'll do something. You do that for me? Yes. I love you. We all love each other. And God says, I only send angels, but this is how we work. We help each other out. And so, little soul is very excited, and this is what touched me. This is where I grabbed onto the book. Because everybody's excited, except the friendly soul finally kind of slows down a little bit. Says, you realize, I have to lower my light. I have to vibrate at a slower vibration to help you out. So will you do me one favor? And little soul, yeah, of course, anything. You're helping me out. Of course I would. And the friendly soul says, after I mess with you, please remember who I am. And then, little soul, of course I will. And friendly soul, no, you don't understand. I'm really good. I'm really good at taking on this role. And I'm so good at it, I might forget who I am. And that's where I got into the story. for some reason, and soul said, no, you don't understand. And again, the friendly soul, no, you don't understand. Here's the problem. This is what I just want to make sure we don't. Because I'm so good at playing my role, I might forget who I am. And in playing that role in our lifetime, you may forget who you are. And then we're going to have to go to the UD Center at Burbank, and Jimmy Burns is going to have to remind us. We're going to have an outside party to help us, remind us that we're all angels. Today's lesson is that ideally, at some point in our life, we want to get to the point where we refuse to allow anyone or anything get in between our awareness of the presence of God within us and the presence of God within anyone else. We want to get to that point. And that's, to me, that's the lesson in the book. That's where the forgiveness comes in. The perception was there, and I can tell you a quick story, perception, but I think we'll drop that. There's that the ADD kicking in? A perfect example, this is for Tommy and some of you who do you know who Dennis Rodman is?
Yeah.
Did anybody happen to see his Hall of Fame speech? Dennis Rodman did this lesson. Dennis Rodman, for those who don't know, an NBA player, retired, bad boy, piercings, tattoos, color, all kinds of different colors in his hair, all that stuff. And his Hall of Fame speech, I don't even know if Dennis realized what he said. But he said, a lot of people don't understand, this is an illusion. And I went, Dennis is teaching. This is an illusion. And there's only a few, there's four, matter of fact, he named, there are 4 men who were able to look through and see me. And one of them was Phil Jackson. And that's why Phil Jackson presented him. He said Phil Jackson was able to see me, and Phil Jackson's the only man that's cried for me and with me. And I was thinking, there's the friendly soul playing the role, and there's the other soul, and they actually see. And that's what I'm talking about in the sense of we want to get to the point where nothing gets in the way of our awareness of the Christ presence within us. And that's where the forgiveness kicks in. That's where we come in. Because God, remember, in the book, He said, I sent only angels. So that's where the forgiveness part's in. Because forgiveness does not punish those who we are not letting go. Forgiveness is not revenge. We think we're going to be paying them back. But forgiveness only hurts ourselves. Forgiveness can even have physical damage to us. Louise Hay, are you familiar with Louise Hay? I picked up her book, I guess it was 1994, and she has all these physical conditions in the back of the book and possible metaphysical reasons for them. And I have been blessed. I've been a very, very healthy physical being most all of my life, except I had, a while back, gallstones. And I didn't realize it. That was back in the days when I thought God hated me, and I just thought He was punishing me for some reason. Good Catholic boy. Anyway. Is that true? Yes. And there he goes, loves it. I speak from the heart. So, and then when I came to Unity, and I started reading and realizing God is within us and loves us, and then I got Louise Hay's book, and I read it, and the problem with gallstones is held on to anger, held on to resentment. And I thought to myself, oh, that couldn't be the first marriage, could it? Golly gee, who would know that? So, possibly. Anyway, just using that as an example, forgiveness hurts ourselves. We are the ones putting our own wedge, our own barrier between the Christ presence within us, in turn, putting it between other people around us. If we shut down, if we're shutting off our flow, if we're shutting off our circulation of love and Christ, because that's our nature. That is our natural nature, is loving, creating. And we are putting our own bonds on when we don't forgive others. We're not punishing them. We're only punishing us. Because we've all heard the stories of, well, I forgive you, but I'm not forgetting. And that is not forgiveness. That's not the unconditional forgiveness. And that's not the forgiveness that Jesus taught us. Or, well, we let somebody go because, well, that's just how they are. That is not unconditional forgiveness. In the reading that I did, I always go back to some of my Unity sources, which the book was The Quest. I was in class a while back. And they told the story of this. People wonder what ultimate forgiveness is, what the unconditional, what the forgiveness is that Jesus taught. They talk about a couple who lost their son to a brutal murder. And they were able to forgive the person who took their son away. Because they looked at the murderer and saw through his physical being, looked past his eyes into his soul, and saw the Christ within them. And realized Christ is within you. Christ was within our son. Christ was within us. We are one. We completely forgive. We understand you misstepped. We understand that anyway, but we forgive you. Matter of fact, this is where that's true forgiveness. The couple went beyond that and asked the murderer for forgiveness. And of course, he said, I'm sorry, what? They go, well, no, I believe we need you to forgive us for judging you wrongly as less than a child of God when we first heard the news that you killed our son. Wow. That's amazing. I don't know about you, I'm not at that level. But that's what we're here in our roles as angels and helping each other to work our ways through forgiving and learning. And I need a drink of water, hold on. Hey, water.
Jimmy, I have to clarify something.
Yes.
You said forgiveness only hurts us. I think you meant to say not forgiveness.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Because it's interesting because we, as the book said, as Reverend Janine was talking about and things like that, there's really nothing to forgive because we're all angels. If you look beyond each other, there's all angels. But we are on this plane and we are playing roles with each other. So that's why I said, I am not at the level of that couple who could actually forgive. But we're working on it. We're trying to remind ourselves. We're trying to remind ourselves our connection, our oneness. So I was thinking, because you know how some people say, only God can forgive? Okay, here's the trick question. Oh, I just gave it away. It's a trick question. Can God forgive? No, because God didn't judge. Man, I want to hear Alex Trebek do something like that. God does not, what? I'm sorry. God can't forgive because God didn't judge us. We're the only ones that's judging. God only made love. God only made light. And we want to exercise our light. So here's the process. David gave us a process, but I have another process to pass on for forgiveness. Because if you look at your life, if you think, I wonder if I have forgiveness work to work on, if you look at your life and your life is not exactly where you want it, or it's not going down the road you want, it's not flourishing the way you want, maybe there is forgiveness work for you to do. Maybe there's even forgiveness work that you're not even aware of. You've buried it away, it's hidden away. By the way, has anybody ever used their hurts, their things they didn't forgive for their own victimhood? Okay, guilty. Alrighty, anyway. So here's the process I would love to pass on to you. It's along the lines of David. Maybe there's a hybrid between them. But if you sit quietly and close your eyes and pull up the face of someone who you need to forgive, and don't look at their face, look into their eyes. And look into their soul. And as you are doing this, say to yourself, my heart is filled with love. My heart is filled with love. And then as you look at this person, and you just feel that connection from your Christ Center, your God Center, to the other person's Christ Center, God Center. And if you need to repeat it again, my soul is filled with love. And then you say their name, and you say, I love you, I bless you, I release you. And that's it. And then allow them to just vaporize. And maybe you have to do it many, many times. Now, there is a possibility that on our journey there are people, there are angels, that if we bring their face up, we still may feel the hurt. We still may feel the anger. And if you can't get past that, either let that go, come back and work on that another time, or think of them as a child. See them as a child. See them as an infant. Maybe that anger, maybe that hurt, maybe that will be released. And then as you see that individual as an infant, you can say to them, I love you. I bless you. I release you. And constantly reminding yourself, my heart is filled with love. My heart is filled with love. And it's that love, that is that connection, that is our nature. Again, the lesson. We want to come to a point where we refuse to allow anyone or anything come between us and the realization of the presence that is God, that is love within us or within each and every one of us. And so begins today's lesson. Shalom.